What did you think of the Seahawks?
It's pretty awesome, man. It's been a great preseason. Watching everything offensively. I feel like it was everything that we've talked about in the run-up to the draft last year and in the whole offseason. I feel like it's all just like right in front of us, what we've seen in an improved interior offensive line, what a difference that can make. We talked in the, after the draft, we were saying, okay, which pick? I remember, Salk, you asked me, like, which one of these day 3 picks gets you most excited? And I was like, well, Torrey Horton has no business falling as far as he did, and he's out there running around making plays. I like Sam. I think Sam's a great fit in this system. He looks comfortable and confident. Arroyo, one of the most encouraging things about him is I know he can run all day long, and I know he's like a seam stretcher. But Brock, watching him compete after the catch with the ball in his hands, and lowering his shoulder, showing some toughness and being competitive in the run game, there's a lot of positive signs. I'm always one to caution that preseason's a liar and don't make any big-time assessments off preseason. But if you can't watch Gray Zabel climb to the second level as explosive as he is and get excited, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, that's all cool, but the day 3 pick that's going to make the most immediate impact
Robbie
is clear.
Utes?
It's Robbie Utes, right?
I'm a Robbie Utes guy.
He's starting a fullback.
I know, and he had a nice catch, too. He just adds a physicality and toughness to what you're doing. I see it with the Chargers when they, threw Matlock in there as a 300-pound defensive tackle and made him a fullback. Those guys are fun, man. They add a different element. He was one that got hot late in the process too. Like he was an afterthought, and then I think people started figuring out a role for him, and coaches, when they were working him out, he got a little bit of buzz really late in the process after the Senior Bowl.
Because he got a lot of bend, DJ. Like when you watch him, like usually guys that are that thick, especially in the lower half, right, are kind of, can they bend and can they move and can they explode and do they have twitch? And watching him dunk a basketball, like there's a lot of snap in a really, really thick frame.
Yeah, he's fun, man. He's going to be fun, especially with all like the split zone stuff that they do. He's going to be just a fun one. You're going to be able to sneak out into the flat and make people tackle him as well. So you can just see the whole. I love it when you see a coherent plan that came together. And John Schneider and Coach McDonald clearly had an idea of what they wanted this to look like. And man, you got to be pumped with the early returns. Even like Milroe getting out there, running around, making some plays has been fun.
Was that a team reference? You love it when a plan comes together.
Yes.
Were you an A-team guy?
By the way,
timely.
you're gonna fall into the same trap I do, which is like you look up and you realize like the last 9 or 10 references you've made are just not even relevant anymore. I threw out a big bucks no whammies last week on television, and then I realized there's nobody that knows what that means.
DJ, I know that you just said like you can only take so much out of a preseason game, but I think I might be in love after watching just that game. I've been playing this song all morning. Speaking of timely references.
Are you going to go Brendel?
I think I might be in love with Klint Kubiak.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think I would be. I was a little like, not sure this is the right guy.
I meant to say Sundell, by the way. I thought you were going to say you were in love with
Sundell.
Sundell after what?
No.
Yeah, watching that last one.
No, that was good.
He caused me, by the way, he caused me to go to our lads because I was watching it, and you're trying to figure. I'm like, this guy can really get up to the second level. He's moving really, really well. And our lads has his number wrong, which is rare for them. So I had to go on I went on a rabbit hunt trying to figure out who the heck that was.
Well, hopefully you didn't find one of those weird zombie rabbits that are running around right now. They called 48 and they ran the ball 48 times in the game. I know they probably weren't all called running plays, but they ran the ball 48 times in the game. They keep saying they want to run the ball for years. Oh, we want to run the ball. Cool. Well, you know what you got to do? Call running plays. Well, he did. And there were all sorts of interesting running plays, and there were ones with fullbacks, and there was, even to my eyes, wide zone and toss plays and power and runs up the middle and then play action. Like, dude, that was like an actual normal-looking, coherent offense. I don't think I've seen that in my entire time in Seattle.
Yeah, everything kind of worked off of each other. No, I mean, there's a clear, coherent plan there. My question, because it's not being up there, and I haven't read all the clips with Seattle through the preseason, is there a chance Charbonnet is the guy up there, the way that he's run?
Should be. Brock made a proclamation even a week ago saying that he would start week 1. And
I'm just watching him run, and I'm sitting there going, like, I like Kenneth, but I'm not so sure that the other guy isn't better.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you say? Because I have my own reasons, and I think Brock does too.
I think he sees it better. To me, I think he just got better vision. But
What does that? Can you explain a little bit of what that means? Just go a little deeper. What does that mean, and why for this system, this team, would that make more sense?
Because there's going to be creases that are created, and they're not going to be created the same on. You can call the same run play 5 times, and the crease might be different every single time. So hesitation and pause, that's not a friend in this system. You got to be able to see it, sort it, and go. And I just think Charbonnet sees things faster. He gets to and through the hole quicker. So look, if you're going to run crack toss, and it's just we're running outside. I mean, Kenneth Walker can do that all day long. But in terms of being able to sift and sort inside and find the crease, I just think Charbonnet's a little more comfortable with that at this point in time.
Do you have your 24 draft binder somewhere in a drawer around you?
Yeah, what do you need?
I'll give you a second to find that. I'm going to ask you about Sundell because he went undrafted.
I got it right here. I already pulled it up.
Do? Yeah, he went undrafted, so I don't even know if you did a bio on him at North Dakota State and teammate of Gray Zabel and everything else. Curious why he went undrafted because, man, does he move athletically, And such a fit.
I gave him a backup grade. He did not make my top 150. He was just outside of there, but he was 6'5". He was 301 pounds. He had decent length at 33 1/8. He ran a 5.18, which is really was a solid time for an inside guy. 40 career starts, played center, played left tackle the last year. Things I loved about him, he takes excellent angles to the second level. He can catch, turn, and dump. He's got some real pop in his hands. He's a little bit high and plays a little bit stiff at times, and in pass protection, he got tugged and pulled a little bit. But in the run game, he was, all that stuff. When I was watching that preseason tape, I was like, oh, yeah. I mean, the second level stuff, climbing, angles, feel with all that, really, really good. I didn't see the warts show up in terms of the pass pro stuff that I thought probably kept him from getting drafted.
How, if you are in pass blocking, how different is pass blocking for an offensive lineman in this type of system, like what we saw on Friday night, where it's a lot of boot action and all the other stuff as opposed to just a straight drop back pocket throw? Does that require different skills from an offensive lineman? Is it easier for an offensive lineman? What effect does that system have on the offensive line's pass protection?
I think it's more friendly just from the standpoint of, as a pass rusher, you don't know where the launch point's going to be consistently. You can't get a consistent feel and rush plan because of that, because they're constantly moving that around a little bit. So, look, if you've got, Walter Jones and, Orlando Pace and Jonathan Ogden, you want to just go pure drop back, those guys aren't going to have any issues at all. But as someone, who isn't at that level, I think you benefit from having both, moving the launch point around, as well as having somebody back there that, with the quarterbacks they've brought in that can get away as well. So I think it's beneficial to an offensive lineman. I wouldn't want to sit there against some of these pass rushers in the NFL knowing they know we're throwing, we know we're throwing, they know exactly where the launch point's going to be, and that allows them to really get off the rock. There's some hesitancy now, especially even when they are going straight back. You've got play action, you've got run action, you've got motion coming across, you've got late movement. There's a lot of stuff to catch your eye as an edge rusher that you don't get in just a static offense.
Yeah, Stone Forsythe wants a word with Mr. Grubb. I think he still led the league in pressure assault, and he played 5 games, unfortunately. It takes a Belmont Hill guy to really communicate very, very well. And from Belmont Hill to Duke to UCLA, Jake Bobo, one of our, one of the guys we really enjoy talking to because I think he expresses things really well. Cut number 14 here, Salky. Play this for DJ. This was after the game, and I got a follow-up question for you, DJ, with it. But this was the receiver talking about Klint Kubiak's system that Salk loves so much.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are going to see it, but it's really cool what Kubes is doing. I mean, he's marrying up, at least for just receivers. We're on the same path for the first 10 yards of a play, whether we're running outside zone or we're running boot action, play action off of it. So I obviously have not been in their shoes, but I think that's really difficult on a defense. DBs, especially safeties that are getting cracked all game, then all of a sudden you're going to boot action off of it. You're going to run a deep in route off of that same route stem. I think that puts defenses in a bind. It puts linebackers in a bind. So it's been really cool to kind of explore that in Kubes' scheme so far. But obviously we've got further steps we want to take, and we'll continue to do that.
32 teams in the NFL. How many do that well?
Gosh, that's a great question. I would say fewer than 10, you know. I would say probably in that 8 to 10 range that are really good about that. I just saw the Rams in the preseason, and it's, you know, Stetson Bennett and its backups and all that kind of stuff, and that offense is hell on wheels because everything does look the same from that standpoint of how they do it. I just even go back to the, you know, to his point that he made. He's talking about wide receivers. Think about if you're a defensive end, and all of a sudden you get the tackle that blocks down, and here comes a tight end, you know, post snap zipping across. You go, okay, he's getting ready to block me. He's getting ready to block me, and then all of a sudden he slips out into the flat. So you don't know. There's literally a coin flip on defenders. Not even at just the second, third level. They do it to the edge rushers as well.
We kind of made the comp earlier with like tunneling these days in pitching and baseball, right?
That's
like kind of the
comp.
same idea.
You came up with that, or did Brock come up with that?
I think we both did. Honestly, I'm like, we've talked so much
you can
time.
see on Twitter, like who tweeted
I'm
that?
guessing
Oh,
it
Brock
did.
tweeted
thing.
it.
You can just
Yeah.
you can
I
see
don't
where
think I
Salk
saw
maybe
that.
gets.
Is that what you said?
A little stolen valor right there.
I got a text message here on our machine about it. It was an actual smart text, so I assume the people came up with it. But I'll make a different baseball to football comp because we started off here talking about the Padres, and they play in a tough league. The National League's pretty good. There's some really good teams. Padres are good. Dodgers are good. Phillies are good. Kind of go through it. Brewers are really good. But in the American League, like, if you're the Mariners, you go big at the deadline, and you got a real opportunity to beat some teams in the American League that aren't that good. If the Seahawks were in the AFC, you'd be like, there's some there's some teams and some quarterbacks and this and that. But the NFC, like, I don't know that one other than Philadelphia, I don't know that anybody really stands out. The NFC West, Stafford's hurt, and, you know, we'll see what happens in San Francisco. Based on what you saw from the offense, which looked a whole lot more legitimate than anything we've seen in a while, based on the fact that the defense was good or great at points last year, why wouldn't you trade for Trey Hendrickson now and try to actually take this thing over the top? He's available. They're not looking for the world for him, according to some of the reports out today. Should the Seahawks be going hard after Trey Hendrickson?
Yeah, I can get on board with that. It's a window thing. You know, when you look at these trades, it's all about understanding what window you're in, and I think this is a gettable division for them right now. So, yeah, I would have no problem with that. I mean, I think more so than the whatever you're going to have to give up from a pick standpoint, it's going to be the financial aspect of it that's going to cause some concern.
That's the only hurdle. That's the only hurdle, DJ, that I can't get over. I totally get it. And Tom Pelissero reporting that maybe it's a third rounder and a player, and like the Seahawks have actually Boye and Derek Hall and Uchenna Nwosu, who just passed his physical. Like, if they want a player, they've got a player in a fourth round pick. That's not the problem. To me, the challenge is you got to pay your guys still. And your guys that have played for you, and do you give somebody from outside $100 million? Like, what does that do from your life experience to a locker room, to a culture? Can you make that move and sell that to that locker room?
Well, I think it's got to be the right guy, and I know that's vague, but to me, Trey Hendrickson, everything that I've heard, it won't take him long to come into the building to get everybody's respect. He's not a jerk. He's not going to come in there and everybody's going to be like, we paid this butthead and we aren't taking care of our own guys. Another older reference, by the way.
Appreciate that. Yeah, I watched The Breakfast Club this weekend, and they said butthead very, like, with a lot of, like, gusto in that movie.
I don't know why it left. I don't know why it left.
We should bring it back.
Just stuck around. Let's bring it back. We'll work on that. No, I think it would be okay. I think it would be okay with him. I think it comes down to if it's the right person or not. And I think he's got so much accomplished already in this league that I would think that's something that's understood, you know, by the rest of that core, and they want to win, man. And this is someone who comes in there and helps them from that standpoint. So I think you do it for another guy who maybe doesn't fit in or who hasn't necessarily earned it. I think that's where you get in trouble.
Yeah, it didn't work with Jimmy Graham. Like, I get it. Like, that is a real concern
Jamal
with the
Adams,
wrong person.
Percy Harvin.
This is a guy, though, that, I mean, again, if you're saying he doesn't have any of that reputation and you have an opportunity to add the NFL sack leader and second in Defensive Player of the Year voting, like.
Yeah, I think that's different than bringing over a pass rushing safety. I wouldn't think that the Jamal Adams thing should have any bearing on that.
Would you trade either Boye or Derek Hall and a third-round pick in order to make that happen?
Would.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah.
What if you have to give up Ken Walker in the process? I mean, like, it seems like there are a lot of ways they could try to make this work with a team like Cincinnati. And look, I love those guys. I think Boye and Hall are really good, but they're not Trey Hendrickson on third down rushing the passer. And that does seem to be the one thing about this team that's still just not quite at, it's good, but not quite at that kind of elite level.
Has there been any discussion at all? Are there any murmuring about Seattle being in on this? Or
No,
is this
100% me.
Because I have not. Yeah, I was going to say I haven't
Yeah.
seen it anywhere. So but I get what you're saying, and I think it. Yeah, I'd be comfortable with a package of one of those. I don't want to trade multiple of those players, but if you trade one of those players in a mid-round pick and that gets it done, and you also, to Brock's point, I might, maybe you call in a couple of your leaders from the team and just say, hey, are we on board here? We're gonna be good with this. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
What last thing for me, DJ, is you watch, and you're paid to watch all these preseason games. Anything stand out just kind of globally with just the final week of it this weekend, and then it gets real? Anything stand out globally from what you've seen in the league?
I feel like it's gone back to getting bigger. Like I feel like defensively up front, size has become something that every team has coveted and has added. For the most part, we just went to such a speed league, a decade or so ago, and then I think as you've seen the scheme changes and the obsession of limiting explosive plays, we're gonna, everybody wants to play this shell coverage, so you're gonna play with lighter boxes. Therefore, having 280, 290-pound defensive linemen is not as popular anymore. I'm seeing a lot more big body interior defensive linemen when I'm looking around the league, and it's just. I think that's just part of the marrying the players up with the way teams want to play defense nowadays.